Guitar improvisation is dead simple if you follow these few tips that I'm about to show you. All right, my friends, let's dig into this. This lesson is specifically made for beginners who want to learn improvisation that don't understand what it's about and how to go about it. I promise you, I'm going to unravel this for you. It's super easy. We're going to do it as quickly as possible. So what you heard just now was a one-chord vamp. So it's just one-chord vamping. This is how I always instruct my students to learn how to improvise. It's just like juggling. If you can't juggle with 3 balls, you should try 2. If you can't juggle with 2, you should try 1, because complicating it with more balls is not going to make it easy. Same thing with the chord progression, since we're specifically playing on top of chords and playing improvisation, which is making things up as we go along. Since this is a conversation, if we have lots more topics to talk about, we're going to get confused. So let's stick to one topic, in this case here, one chord. Let's get good at that. Once you conceptualize that, you'll be able to bring this to 2 chords, 3 chords, and as many chords as you desire, okay? So first off, what I did there was in the key of A. Very important that you understand what the key of a song is. In this case, it's in A, and that allows us to know what kind of scale, what kind of chord we'd be working with. And a scale or a chord, basically just a set of notes, and those notes are going to sound better with that particular key. Okay, so that's an important thing to know. You can't just randomly play any notes, obviously, on the guitar and it's going to sound good. That's why you're watching this video. Okay, so we know this is in the key of A, and specifically I'm playing an A7 chord. So the scale that we might use over this is the A blues scale. Okay, I've got videos for that here on YouTube. Search Your Guitar Stage Blues. If you don't know that, or Your Guitar Stage Blues scale, if you don't know that scale, that's very simple. And so basically we need to know what the key is. Now, another thing that we need to know is we need to know what the chord or the chord progression is. Okay, these are the tips that I'm giving you, but in this case here, we're just talking about one chord. So we have the A7 chord. Why do we need to know that? Because music is a conversation, and if you and I are talking about something, you're going to add something, I'm going to add something, and we're going to get to an end, right? Hopefully a better understanding of a particular something. And when we're talking about music, that's what it is, except we're having fun with it. So knowing the shape of the A7 is going to be very helpful. Why? Because the notes that are within the chord are our color notes, or the notes that we might want to rest on. See, music is all about tension and release. If we don't have the tension, the release doesn't sound good. Just like in any story, there's always a bad guy, there's always some sort of, something that's going on that needs to be resolved. Otherwise, we don't have a story. Okay, so in the same thing is true with music. It can't just be resolution all the time, and it can't be tension all the time. That would just drive you nuts. So there has to be tension and there has to be resolution. So when we're talking about using a scale, the notes that are being played within the scale that aren't within the chord, if you will, are our tension. And when we settle on a chord or settle on a note that's within the chord, we have the release, okay? So after we know the chord, like we have here, noodling with the notes inside the scale and settling on a note that's within the chord is our third step. So for instance, if I know that top part of my chord here, that all those notes would work, right? Because that's my chord. If I know that those 3 notes would work for me to settle on those notes, that means the other notes in this scale would be my tension notes. And I, as a basic rule, don't want to stay too long on them. Now, all of these are rules of thumb, but since we're starting off here, you'll want to follow these because it's going to make your journey in improvisation so much easier. Okay, so for instance, if I'm playing this chord here, I might make this my tension note, my pinky here, and make this my release note. So part of what you want to do is you want to start getting familiar with those notes that are within the chord, resting on those, and those notes that are within the scale, to be your tension notes. So for instance, now I could take this note, which is a chord note, it's also a chord note, and I'm resting on it, right? So anywhere there's a chord note, meaning a note that's right there within that chord, we can use it, okay? And you'll want to use it. You'll want to rest on it. So this is going to be part of the practice, okay? In the description of this video, I'm going to have a link for you to take you to a one-chord vamp that's got drums and everything else so that you can practice this for yourself. And I implore you to practice it because you're not going to get any better if you don't practice this stuff, okay? And that's number 4 on the list is repetition. So what you want to do is you want to get familiar with these notes. I'm going to throw in number 5 here right away as well, which is you learn to play the right notes by playing the wrong notes. And this is done through repetition, okay? So what you want to do is you want to let the one-chord vamp that I'm giving you, you want to let that thing run and you want to experiment. And this is your time to hit the wrong notes. Now, if you're playing within a scale, chances are you're not going to hear any wrong notes. If you play a note outside the scale, then it may sound a little sour, but ultimately it's all a matter of opinion, but your ear will tell you if you don't like it or not. And just like if you taste something, you know, your taste buds are going to tell you if you don't like it or not. And chances are if you don't like it, somebody else is probably not going to like it as well, okay? So we're listening, we've got our chord lined up here, we're playing some notes out of the scale, but we're resting on chord notes. Very simple, right out of the pentatonic scale. We're not going to get any more complicated than that, my friends, because ultimately you've got what you need to go venture out here and start dabbling in improvisation, okay? So just remember the steps that I've given you here. Take advantage of that jam track that I'm giving you. Have fun with this, my friends, because it's a blast. Once you start doing this, it's going to start making sense to you, okay? It's just like working with clay or painting or something like that. It doesn't make sense at first. It feels awkward at first. You're trying to express yourself and things aren't coming out the way they should or the way you think they should. It's not Hendrix right away or Eric Clapton, but I promise you, my friend, that just like Eric Clapton, just like Jimi Hendrix, they all sucked in the beginning. They practiced, they worked on their improvisation, and then voila, they got better just like you will, right? So if I can help you in any way, please let me know in those comments below. I'll see you in the next video.